At Encova Insurance, we're committed to leaving a lasting impression in all communities we serve. We support local causes that mirror the values and interests of our associates, agents, and policyholders. We partner with organizations that are dedicated to improving lives. We are committed to building something greater than ourselves, encircling our communities with strength and support. We are Encova Insurance. Learn more at Encova.com.
Hello, Wildcats. It is your boy Kev, just coming at you all thick and sexy like Ruben stuttered back in 2004. And this is just a little heads up, a little disclaimer to let you know that this is a comedy and crime podcast. So even though we do cover many serious cases and true events, we do like to throw in some inappropriate jokes and some dark humor every now and then. And in case you haven't noticed from the name of this episode, we are going to be taking a little break, going on a bit of a hiatus right now. Not quite sure how long it'll be. Could be a couple weeks or a month or forever, and maybe we'll all die and you'll never hear from us again. Yeah, so I do apologize, especially if we do all die. But anyway, just want to say thank you to everyone for listening, and we will keep you posted on what's going on as soon as we figure all that out. But alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening. Be good, stay safe, and laugh at the dark stuff. Hashtag Wildman.
Alright, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Come on down. Come on down. Hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the Brotherscommon.place tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brotherscommon.place. It is your boy Kev, and we're bringing you a very special episode, something a little bit different. I'm not sure if this is going to go in our normal feed or on our Patreon feed. I have no idea, so wherever you hear this, I just want to say thank you for listening. But before I get too far ahead, I want y'all to meet my good old Razor Scooter Boy.
Here I go on my scooter, pigtails in the air, floating like a fucking hatchet through the air. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's Toof. What's up?
Fuck yeah, Toof. Yeah. So you got Kevin and Toof today. It's just going to be us two brothers over here. And this is a super interesting topic to talk about for me anyways. Like I always found this really, really interesting. It's about the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau. But we're not really going to be talking about the movie so much as we are going to be talking about all the crazy shit around it, because it's such a fascinating movie, but not because of the actual movie. It's just the story behind it. It's a huge fucking train wreck full of some of Hollywood's most famous stars. So if this doesn't seem like something you want to listen to and you're thinking about skipping it, I highly suggest you don't, because it does get pretty crazy, ridiculous, and funny.
I looked it up beforehand. There's titties. There's feet getting cut off. There's fucking hair everywhere for some reason. And there's fucking paint. Clown paint.
Alrighty. Anything before we get started, Toof?
Friends don't come easily in this, I know. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Damn, you're in a fucking juggalo mood today, Toof.
Yeah, since I got that new car, I finally have Bluetooth. And I've made all ICP song playlist. And yeah, your boys listen to it.
Fuck yeah.
Front and back.
Hell yeah, you got Bluetooth in your car? Oh, fuck yeah. So our sources for this episode, most of it is going to be coming from the documentary titled Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau, as well as the IMDb page and the wiki page on this movie. Almost everything is coming from those three sources. And so real quick, just in case you don't know what the movie is, here is our Killer Jobs famous quick wiki intro on the movie. Quote, in 2010, United Nations negotiator Edward Douglas, he survives a plane crash in the Java Sea and is eventually rescued by a passing boat. Aboard, a man called Montgomery tends to him. After telling him the boat has no radio, he promises Douglas the captain will take him to Timor, I think it is, after dropping him off. However, when they arrive at Montgomery's destination, referred to as Moreau's Island, he instead advises Douglas to stay with him, ostensibly so he can use the radio on the island. And I was originally going to read off the cast, but there's a reason I'm not going to. So, Toof, I'm really urging you not to look up the cast for this movie yet, because there's some interesting things that's going to happen. Although I will let you know that Ron Perlman is in it,
Okay. All right. So good so far.
And also Fairuza Balk, I think her name is.
Oh, shit.
Fairuza Balk, which was the girlfriend from Waterboy and the girl from The Craft, the gothic kind of looking girl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
they're
her
all
and
gothic. The black gothic
Yeah.
or the white gothic?
No, I meant like outside the movie The Craft. She kind of has like a gothic look to her. I don't know if she still does.
Oh, the black hair girl. Oh, is it
Yeah.
is it Valerie from
Vicky Valancourt?
Vicky Valancourt?
Yeah. So the only three actors I'll mention is those ones. Ron Perlman, Fairuza Balk, and then Marlon Brando is going to be playing Dr. Moreau. Now we'll get to the rest of the cast in a minute, and you'll understand why I'm not mentioning them right now. And then all of this is being directed by Richard Stanley, sort of, because you will notice that he is not listed as the director in the credits, although he does have a writing credit, which we will get to that as well.
Is Richard Stanley like the piano guy from like fucking Journey or something?
I don't know. Paul Stanley is in Kiss.
Okay, that's who it is. Never mind.
So alrighty. So what makes this movie a train wreck? Well, it's so fucking bad that they made a documentary about all the problems that happened on set. And like we mentioned, that documentary is called Lost Soul. Here is the IMDb bio on the director Richard Stanley, so you can know a little bit about him. Richard Stanley is the award-winning South African-born filmmaker who made a name of himself with his first feature film, the sci-fi movie Hardware, and that came out in 1990. It was a low-budget movie about a mad dog android loose in an apartment. Critics slammed it as a Terminator ripoff, yet the film became a financial success. The $1.5 million budget was paid back quite handsomely, and continuation was imminent. So that is the director.
So that's what happened with all Pauly Shore's money. He just kept buying copies of that.
fucking Hardware. But the dude looks like he's got long black hair.
The Room?
Kind of a little bit, yeah. He really kind of does a little bit. Yeah, he's a pretty unique sounding dude if you listen to him talk stuff. He's kind of awkward and weird.
What about his directing credits being every 20 years?
Well, the thing is...
He's like a fucking full moon, or what do you call those things? Full moon eclipses or some shit?
In the documentary, you'll find out after this movie, he kind of disappears, and they're even like, yeah, I don't know where the fuck happened to him, where he went or anything. But he kind of made these like low-budget movies on his own, and this is like his first major movie that he's going to be making. So that kind of ties in a little bit with why maybe he couldn't keep certain things under control. Yeah, this gets really interesting. So Richard, he was somebody that after that Hardware movie came out, people believed that he was going to be the next big thing as far as directors go because it was a low-budget movie and he made a lot of money on it. And so he made another movie in 1992 that was titled Dust Devil. And this was a story based on the myth of a Namibian serial killer. This is all a quote from IMDb. A fallout with the distributors, though, led to the recutting of the U.S. version, while the bankruptcy of the British-based production company Palace Pictures temporarily shut the post-production down in Europe, and the film remained mauled or unfinished, depending how you look at it. So his second movie, I don't think ever was finished. Like, it was all cut up and things, and then one of the companies went bankrupt, so I don't even know what happened with that movie. It could be out. I really don't know.
I heard he also made a third movie about the president in 1930s, maybe? I thought it was about the president because it was called Hoover. But then I realized since he already made Dust Devil, then he made Hoover too, and he just makes movies about vacuums.
Fuck yeah, dude. And then finally in 1996, he is hired to do his third feature film, which is an adaptation of the H.G. Wells novel, The Island of Dr. Moreau. And this is where things just immediately go wrong with this flick.
Are you going to tell us what The Island of Dr. Moreau, like what the actual book or whatever is about?
Sort of.
Is it like, doesn't the guy, like it's a mad doctor who like splices body parts and shit like that? Makes
Kind of. He makes like animal-human hybrids.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
So The Island of Dr. Moreau, it will forever be known as, quote, one of the most difficult and troubled productions in Hollywood history. And Richard Stanley, he loved this book ever since he read it as a kid, and he spent 4 years developing the project before New Line Cinema would give him the green light to actually film it. So he's working his ass off to try and get this movie made.
That's so fucking funny.
And he originally wanted, I think it's Jürgen Prochnow. Is that how you pronounce it? To be the lead role. So he's been planning this for 4 years, and that's who we had pictured as the lead role. However, New Line Cinema had landed Marlon Brando as Dr. Moreau. And Brando, he's a huge star, so I'm sure you've all heard of him. So everyone is like fucking like, holy shit, Marlon Brando is going to be in this movie? Like,
Wait.
they're all extremely excited.
You said this movie was developed or came out in 2010?
No. This
Oh.
came, I think they started working on this in 96.
Oh, wait, Ron Perlman and the Brood bitch back in... I shouldn't say bitch.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman and the Brood girl back in 96 then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so Marlon Brando, he is like we said, he's a huge star. He was in The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, On the Waterfront, The Wild One, just tons of good movies. So he's a huge star. A lot of actors really wanted to work with him.
That is a while ago, because like I don't know where I heard it from. Probably read it, honestly. That like later in his career, he's just a lazy fucking actor.
Oh, he's extremely lazy. Like he would tape like lines that he had to know, like just to stuff on set or like to people's like shirts so he could read it off there. We'll talk about some of the stuff he does. He's
Okay.
fucking insane.
Nice. Good.
He is fucking insane. And then shortly after New Line Cinema announces that they hired Marlon Brando, New Line Cinema then alerts Richard Stanley, telling him, oh yeah, also we offered the movie to director Roman Polanski.
Huh.
So,
that's an interesting time period.
Right away, he spent 4 years working on this, and then New Line is like, yeah, good news, we got Marlon Brando. Also, we went behind your back, and we hired a new director. So Richard Stanley, of course, is furious. He just spent all those years working on it. And here's a quote from him, or a quote on it. Stanley demanded a meeting with Brando, who unexpectedly proved very sympathetic to Stanley's vision, not least because of Stanley's intimate understanding of the novel and its history, including its connections with Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, which was the main inspiration for Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now, and because of Stanley's own family relation to legendary African explorer Henry Morton Stanley, one of the chief inspirations for Conrad's lead character Kurtz. According to Stanley, Brando was still fascinated by Kurtz more than 15 years after he had played a version of that character in Coppola's film. So, that was kind of confusing, but what happens is Stanley talks to Marlon Brando, and he gets Marlon Brando to stand behind him, and they both have this meeting, and they're like, yeah, I want to work with him. We want to get this movie made. So, New Line Cinema is like, well, we don't want to lose Brando. So, all right, Richard Stanley, you're back on. You're back on as the director.
Dude, Roman Polanski, that's so fucking funny.
So already this is fucking crazy. So much crazy shit's happening already. So they're like, okay, you're back on as director. And even better news, we landed 2 more actors for main roles. Joining the cast, we're going to have Bruce Willis and James Woods.
Oh, fuck yes.
Yes, but this wasn't supposed to be like a super big budget. I mean, it was going to have a high budget because it's like a big actual production company like New Line Cinema, but it wasn't supposed to be giant, but they're bringing in all these big stars. So like, well, fuck, now the budget's going to be so big. They're going to have to like really kick ass with this movie to earn everything back, you know? So Richard, he's extremely excited. He's like, oh, finally, my dream's going to become a reality. This movie's going to get made. I got 3 big stars, so we're going to go full force into this. And he starts going with the next steps. He starts scouting out areas that he could use as the island to film. He starts doing some pre-production, some special effects. He's meeting with the special effects people. He's designing sets and costumes for the human-animal hybrid creatures, and everything seems to be going well. Like, everyone seems to be really excited, and things are fucking rolling. And then Bruce Willis drops out of the movie. According to the documentary, Stanley stated that Bruce Willis dropped out of this movie because of the divorce that Bruce was going through with Demi Moore. However, this started in 1996, and the divorce wasn't actually public until 1999. And then they didn't actually divorce until 2000.
Oh my God. So Bruce knew this whole time.
So why he really dropped out, we don't know. But unless he knew something was going on or like knew this movie had some shit with it. So all right, so no more Bruce Willis. However, this is 1996, and the studio then managed to sign on one of my favorite actors of all time, Val Kilmer.
Damn it, I'll say Marlon Wayans.
Oh my God, fuck yeah, dude. Unfortunately, there's only room for one Marlon in this movie. But yeah, so now they bring in Val Kilmer. Only there was a small catch. So they're like, yeah, we got Val Kilmer. He signed on. However, Val Kilmer, he doesn't want to have to film for too long, and he demanded a 40% reduction in the number of days that he would be required to be on set.
Wow, what a dick.
So pretty much he's like, yeah, I want this part. I'm going to be in this movie, but I want to film half the days as everyone else. That's pretty much what he's demanding.
Of course, that would piss off Marlon Brando. Hey, what the fuck you mean you're going to do half the days? That's my deal.
And you come to me on the day my daughter's to be married.
But yeah, like I love Val Kilmer, but he's such a dick this entire time. So they're like, okay, well, Richard Stanley's like, well, fuck, Val Kilmer, he just signed on for one of the main roles, and he wants to film in half the amount of time, which means that Richard Stanley had to find a way to fix this problem. So even though Kilmer was brought in to play the role of Edward Prendick, which is the UN negotiator, the main one that washes up on the island after the plane crash, he would now be switching roles and playing the part of Montgomery, because Montgomery, he has less lines than the other role. So even though he was brought in as the protagonist, he ends up getting switched to playing a supporting role instead.
Have you heard of the Spanish version of The Island of Dr. Moreau, who Val Kilmer played?
No, what was it?
See, comprender is to understand. So in Spanish, it's comprende.
Okay. Okay, so Val Kilmer, he was supposed to be the protagonist, okay? He's switched out and he's playing a supporting role. But the problem is, James Woods, he was brought in to play Montgomery, but now Val Kilmer's playing Montgomery. So they're like, okay, James Woods, we don't have a part for you now. So he's scrapped from the movie. He doesn't have a role to play anymore. He's out.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah. So very quickly, they're like, okay, now we need a lead role for the movie. So New Line, they bring in Rob Morrow to star in the lead role of the movie. And finally, filming was about to begin. I don't know who Rob Morrow is.
No one does.
And keep in mind, like we said, this wasn't originally supposed to be like a giant, big budget movie, but every time a new actor is added or switched, the budget keeps going up. So we've already switched like 6 actors in and out and switched things around. And then we come to Cairns, which is in North Queensland, Australia. And it is April 1995. And the chosen scouted location for the movie was in the rainforest just outside of Cairns. So they're going all the way to Australia to film this movie.
Well, hey, good enough island.
Cape Tribulation was one of the main places that Stanley wanted to film because it had a big volcano in the background, or like these mountains in the background, and he thought it would be good to work with. However, I think they said they had to like dig down, or like they had to get really low just to fit it in the background on a lot of their shots. So it ended up just being like a pain. And immediately during the production, New Line and Stanley, they're all butting heads. Like they've kind of been butting heads all through pre-production, and now they're finally on location, ready to film, and things just keep getting worse. Quote, partly because of Stanley's quirky, insular nature and his marked unwillingness to attend the studio meetings, but they reached crisis point within the first few days of filming. Stanley's vulnerability to studio pressure was exacerbated by the continuing absence of his main ally, Brando.
Our man Brando.
Yeah. So in case you didn't catch that, continuing absence. So you're probably thinking, okay, within the first few days of filming, where the hell is Brando? It's day one of shooting. He was the one that got behind Richard Stanley when the studio was trying to get rid of him, and Brando's not there.
The only reason he was behind Richard Stanley is because that's where the fucking exit was.
Well, sadly, his 25-year-old daughter, Cheyenne, had just committed suicide. And we're not going to go crazy deep into her story. We'll do a little summary, but it's pretty sad. She was dating a man named Dag Drollett, and Drag's father was a member of Tahiti's parliament. The two met at a get-together because the Brandos and Drolletts were longtime friends. And then the two began dating in 1987 when she was 17 or 18, and then Dag was 23. And then 3 years later, Cheyenne's half-brother had shot and killed Dag at Marlon's house. I think it was at Marlon's house. Yeah, her half-brother shoots her boyfriend Dag and then claims that it was an accident. However, quote, he stated that earlier in the evening, Cheyenne told him that Drollett was physically abusing her. Later that night, Christian confronted Drollett about the abuse. Christian claimed that the gun went off after Drollett tried to take the gun away from him.
I like how there's no excuse for why the gun was out, though.
Yeah. And then this is all still quotes. I think this is straight from the wiki. Christian Brando, he was immediately arrested and charged with first-degree murder 2 days later. The prosecutors of the case attempted to subpoena Cheyenne to testify at Christian's trial, as they felt her account of the night's event was crucial in proving the shooting was premeditated. However, she refused to testify and fled to Tahiti. On June 26, 1990, she gave birth to a son that she named Tukey Brando.
Oh, fuck yes.
Soon after Tukey's birth, Cheyenne attempted suicide twice and was hospitalized for drug detoxification in a psychiatric hospital. On December 22nd, 1990, Cheyenne was declared mentally disabled by a French judge and was deemed unable to testify in her brother's trial.
Well, we all know that judge wasn't the lead singer of Rage Against the Machine. Cheyenne, we have to do this one more time, okay? Now testify!
Now testify! Fuck yeah, dude.
Some of those that burn crosses.
How's that part go?
Some of those that want fuck
Something. Oh, the ones that burn crosses. Is that
some
how
of the
it goes
ones
at
that
all?
want forces are the same. Some of those that burn crosses are the same that want forces. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. But Christian, he would end up taking a plea deal for voluntary manslaughter and getting 10 years, to which he would only serve 5. Then he would get 3 years probation. Quote, in an interview given after his release, Christian stated that he doubted Cheyenne's accusations of physical abuse against Drollett due to her mental instability. I feel like a complete chump for believing her, he said. So he fucking killed that guy because his sister told him that he was beating her. And then he's like, fuck, man, I don't even think that he was beating her.
Oh my fucking god, yes. She was just saying like, hey, it's 1996, we just got a Nintendo 64, we've been playing Mario Kart, and fuck, the guy whose name's died, whatever. She's like, he's been beating me a lot. And he's like, whoa, what did you just say, beating you? Let me get my fucking gun.
We were watching Jeepers Creepers. We were trying to figure out what that license plate said. Beating you? What? Beating you? Whatever it is, I don't remember. And then April 16th, 1995, she hanged herself at her mother's house in Tahiti. So fucking just sad story for Marlon Brando's daughter. And that was right when they were about to film.
Oh, okay. That's a good enough excuse for him really to kind of bail on this shit.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is. But I can't remember why, but I don't believe he couldn't go to her funeral. I don't know if it was because he already flew to Australia or something. I don't remember why, but he couldn't end up going. Back to the rainforest in Australia. It's day 1 of shooting. Marlon Brando is nowhere to be found. Nobody can get a hold of him, and they have no idea if he's even going to show up. He had, quote, retreated to his private island, leaving Stanley and his producers in limbo. Which, yeah, like you said, I don't fucking blame him. So there's no Brando on set, and also Val Kilmer shows up 2 days later as well. So he's not even there either.
Dude, Val Kilmer's the shit.
Dude, he's such a dick in this. I love Val Kilmer, but he's a fucking asshole in this. So he shows up 2 days late. So you're on this island in Australia to film. Your 2 main guys aren't even there. And then when Val Kilmer does show up, like we said, 2 days late, he doesn't know any of his lines, and he knows nothing about his character. He just shows up. He doesn't even know what the fuck is going on.
Hashtag
fuck
wild,
yeah.
man.
Hashtag wild. He just fucking shows up, dude. And it was also said that the entire time that the movie was filmed, Val Kilmer, he was pretty hard to work with. He was obnoxious and just extremely difficult. And the most probable reason for this was because once Val Kilmer had arrived in Australia, it was like during a little bit of free time, he turned on the TV and learned through the TV that his wife had decided that she was going to sue him for divorce.
What the fuck? Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So it's a pretty shitty way to find out. Everyone in this movie's fucked.
Pretty much. Well, hey, not the girl from the Craft.
Yeah.
She's doing all right.
Quote, whatever his reasons, many of the cast and crew have testified to Kilmer's bullying and his consistently hostile and obstructive manner during the first days of shooting. He would not deliver the dialogue as scripted and repeatedly criticized Stanley's ideas. What little footage was shot was deemed unusable. And since Kilmer was out of control, Richard Stanley, the director, he was the one that's being blamed for it all. Like, you gotta keep these guys all under control. Everything's a fucking mess. We didn't even want you to be the director, but we stood behind you because of Brando. So, and this sucks because Stanley, like we said, he worked on this for 4 years. And then as soon as he got the job, it's fucking going to hell. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong.
Imagine just how like shitty you'd have to feel really about all that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like everyone's fault. I do feel bad for him, but he was kind of in over his head, and he was kind of a weird dude.
Imagine calling Brando. Hey, Brando, this is Stanley. It's day 7. No one showed up yet. It's just me and the crew here. You're friends with Kilmer, so I think maybe you can give him a call, see what's going on. We can only film the girl from the
from the craft
film scene so many times. We're already done with her. Maybe you can just give me a call back, or at least respond to the roses I sent about the condolences, just anything.
I miss you. I miss you.
Thanks for having my back. Bye.
Here's a quote from Richard Stanley.
God.
And this is about Val Kilmer. Quote, he'd do the lines, but he'd throw it all away. And he kept insisting on odd bits and pieces of his wardrobe that didn't make any sense. Like a piece of blue material wrapped around his arm. I was like, why is that around his arm? And will he take it off? So, yeah, that's in the movie. He just has a blue wrapping around his forearm for no fucking reason. It's just there. It's never explained.
Fuck yeah, dude. This is the best.
And he just did that. He chose that. He didn't know anything about his character, didn't know any of his lines, but he chose that. I think it was on How Did This Get Made, which I listened to this episode like 4 years ago, so I don't remember. But I think they said Val Kilmer, like, imagine his character was like a heroin addict or something. And so he was covering up track marks.
Hey, dude, fucking... Is that method acting? Because it wasn't Val Kilmer a fucking junkie?
One thing that we haven't mentioned about Stanley, well, I guess I mentioned it a couple of times. He's a pretty odd dude. Like, he seems likable and like a nice dude, but he's kind of weird. Like, in the documentary, he talks about how, like, he's begging for this project to go well, so he, like, meets up with, like, he does witchcraft and shit. And, like, he dresses like the Undertaker in black with a hat and all that. Just kind of an odd dude.
I will not even gonna lie, I 100% expected this.
Yeah, the witchcraft.
This is the least weirdest thing about this all.
But I will say his concept art for the movie is rad as fuck. Like, he shows a lot of the drawings and all the stuff that was planned, and it was pretty fucking cool, but none of that gets seen or used, really.
Oh.
Like, he had some cool ideas for it. The second day of filming, this is day 2, the weather was absolutely awful. Everyone is out of their comfort zone working in a faraway land, and the weather is so bad they can't even film because there's a fucking hurricane.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, day 2, and it's all way too much for Rob Moreau, who he was the latest actor brought in to be the main role. And on the second day, he's like, fuck it, I'm out. So he calls his agent and is like begging the studio. He's like, I gotta get out of here. I can't fucking do this.
This guy knows what's up.
Quote, Moreau found himself unable to bear the tension and hostility on set any longer. So he telephoned New Line chairman Rob Shea in Hollywood and tearfully begged to be let go, and Shea agreed. All right.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's so good. Tearfully. Like, he couldn't just say it like professionally. Hey man, this I'm not really digging this movie. Is it okay if I go? So maybe cry for me, Prove you got your acting chops still.
All this is in the first 2 days, dude.
Oh my God.
So now we have day 3. Hopefully things are going to be all right. Hopefully things will go better. But something else happens. Stanley, he gets a fax okay?
Right.
He gets a fax, and it's from New Line telling him that he's fired.
Oh my God.
He gets fired 3 days into this movie.
All right.
Of course, Stanley is pissed off. They're in the middle of nowhere to them. He worked his ass off for 4 years and then gets fired on day 3. He's out in Australia. He loses his shit, And so he starts shredding every important paper and document about like on this film and on this movie. Quote, and then vanishing after being delivered to the airport for the return flight to Hollywood. The reasons for Stanley's dismissal were not made clear, and false rumors were spread about his allegedly erratic behavior, but the main reasons appear to have been his perceived unwillingness to deal with the studio executives and especially his problems in dealing with Kilmer. So what happens is they're like, yeah, you're fired. We need you to leave. So they go drop him off at the airport, and like he has a ticket and shit. He's supposed to get on the plane, but he fucking walks away and disappears. He never gets on the plane. Nobody knows where he went. He just walks into the fucking rainforest.
He becomes Dr. Monroe.
Here's his
Moreau,
quote on
whatever.
this. Quote, when I left the production, I shredded every document I had, but the mushroom trip wasn't true. I wish it was. I've heard stories over time that I'd freaked out, that I shouted at so-and-so, that I punched so-and-so, but point of fact, what I did at the time was staying in the same chair for about 2 days while continuously smoking and taking telephone calls.
Okay.
During that time, over that 48-hour period, I shredded every single goddamn document from the last 2 years. I made certain at that point in time that there were no telephone numbers, there were no timetables, no rainfall charts, anything they had figured out about the location so that they would have to figure it all out from scratch. It wasn't really sabotage. It was to leave as little trace behind in my cooperation as possible. A stalling tactic in a way. Have them to suss out the whole thing from scratch.
Or just ask fucking anyone else who was on the fucking plane where they went. Or just get the fucking flight records. All right. Yeah, dude, that's great.
So, New Line, whenever they let them go, they have a deal. They have a deal with them. They say, we're going to pay you your full payment still as long as you leave quietly and don't speak about you being fired or let go from the film. And then because of him like getting dropped off the airport but then not getting on the plane, the studio was like, oh, fuck, he's going to try and sabotage this movie. And so
what
when
about
the rest
them knowing him so well? They're like, this fucking guy.
Yeah, this fucking weirdo is going to fucking sabotage this thing or fucking kill somebody or something. And now the cast finds out, and they're pissed off. They're outraged. They're confused, especially Fairuza Balk, the craft girl, because she actually really liked Richard Stanley. And a lot of people liked his vision and stuff. Quote, outraged female lead Fairuza Balk stormed off the set after a heated exchange with the New Line executives, and then had a production assistant drive her all the way from Cairns to Sydney, a distance of almost 2,500 kilometers.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Okay.
In a rented limousine.
Oh, fuck
Okay.
yeah.
Listen to this. You ready? Let me do this. So 1,500 miles. She had a production assistant. She's like, drive me to Sydney, because she didn't know how far it was.
Yeah.
So this guy just drives her in a limo 1,500 miles. However, by her own account, Balk's agent then warned her in blunt terms that the studio would ruin her and that she would never work in films again if she broke her contract. So she was soon forced to return to the set.
God, that's awesome.
Because, like, you can't just fucking leave. You have a contract. You can't just drive off. So nothing seems to be going right. This movie was only supposed to be shot on location for 6 weeks, and they end up being on this island, or they end up being in Australia filming for 6 months.
Oh, fuck yeah. Good.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. And so now we bring in our second director, John Frankenheimer. That's a fucking sweet name.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's going to be taking over this project. Quote, like virtually every member of the cast and crew, he wanted the opportunity to work with Marlon Brando, but he also used the studio's desperation to his advantage, successfully demanding a hefty fee and a 3-picture deal in exchange for his services.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude.
So they fired the other guy just because he couldn't handle the crazy talent. That's
I think they were trying to get rid of him. They said he was difficult, like he wasn't showing up to stuff, but he was fucking dealing with a lot of shit for like his first real major move, like film with a bunch of big stars, but they're saying he couldn't control them and stuff, and they wanted to get rid of him from day one anyways. Yeah, but everyone rides Marlon Brando's dick so hard that because Brando was like, no, don't get rid of him, I want him here, they kept him. But Marlon Brando's not even there.
Was he ever?
Well, we'll get there. And yeah, like we just mentioned in that quote, the only reason that like 90% of the people are signing up and doing this movie is because everyone wants to work with Marlon Brando. David Thewlis, which we haven't mentioned yet, he played Lupin in Harry Potter.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Do you know who that guy is?
No. Lupin the Third.
His name in Harry Potter is Remus Lupin. I'm sure you've seen him.
Remus. Yeah, I know that guy.
And I'll send you a link to what he looks like.
Oh, fuck yeah, Draco Malfoy.
No, but yeah. So, I mean, no, not at all. So...
Yeah, I don't know.
So David Thewlis, he signs on, but only for that reason as well, because he wanted to work with Marlon Brando. And he shows up when Marlon Brando is actually there. So Marlon Brando does show up eventually. He's just not there for I don't know how many days. But after David shows up, he's excited. He's like, I got a free trip to Australia. They gave me a big salary, which is nice too. But when he shows up, Marlon Brando tells him, quote, "Go home, David. This is not a good film to work on. It's a curse."
Yes. So Marlon Brando's there.
Yeah. He's like, dude, this movie's fucking cursed, dude. Go home.
He's like, why are you here then? Marlon Brando's like, because I am the curse.
But like most others, David, he would regret his decision to sign up for this movie. And no joke, he hated making this movie so much that he didn't go to the premiere because he vowed to never watch the finished product.
Fuck yes, this is great.
And he stated that he would like to give a real account of the film's production, but fears that if he did, he would never be able to work in movies again because of all the shit he wants to say. But yeah, things are a mess. According to the film's executive people, Richard rented a super nice house near where they were filming. This is the first director, but he would never come out of it. So according to them, there is almost no communication between Richard Stanley and the executives. And they said, like, he's not much of a leader at all. Like, whenever we had meetings, we had to drag him out of the house to go to him. And he also seemed to be in way over his head. And whenever shit was going wrong, he didn't really know how to help out. Quote, Richard Stanley claimed that the only good footage shot when during his time as director was shot from a helicopter. However, further events led to continuity problems, which made his footage unusable. So the only shit he shot, they couldn't even use.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You want to hear some more funny Val Kilmer stuff?
Of course.
So this is with Richard. Val Kilmer, before shooting a scene, he asked Richard, he's like, hey, so how do you plan on cutting this all together? Because it didn't make much sense to him at all. And Richard is like, well, this guy, he's going to get hit in the head. We don't know who did it, but it's going to fade to black, and then he's going to wake up on a boat. And Kilmer's like, yeah, that's not going to work. So he's straight telling him the script. He's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And it just became an apparent power struggle between them. Like Richard would be like, okay, you're going to do this and do this for this scene. And Val Kilmer would be like, yeah, that's not going to work.
That's awesome.
We're not going to do that. So, yeah.
This is why Val Kilmer's the man.
And on one scene that Rob Morrow filmed, which he was the lead guy in this movie, but only for 2 days, he was the one who Lupin from Harry Potter would take over his role. But when it's Rob Morrow, he said he had no idea what he was even doing. Like, they filmed a scene that was from the end of the movie, and he's supposed to be running through the island with like a gun shooting these like animal beast people, but he wasn't told at all what to do. So he just like ran around making shit up, like acting like he's shooting people and stuff. Cause he's like, I didn't fucking know what to do. They didn't say it. He's like, I just fucking ran around on this island with a gun and they filmed me. And like we mentioned a bit earlier, a fucking hurricane hits and all the sets get fucked up. They can't film anything. And then this is when Rob Morrow started sending the SOSs to his lawyer, just begging to be let go.
Yeah.
So
that's so good.
Yeah. This is kind of funny. During the hurricane storm, they said that some of the crew said like they would see Richard just fucking walking around frantically. He'd be smoking and like he'd be shaking, like real nervous, like he had fucking Parkinson's. And one of the guys in the crew was like, oh, hey, Richard, what's up? And this is what he says. I must be seen every day attempting to film something. And then he walked away. That was all he said to him.
Oh, yes.
He walks up shaking and trembling, smoking, and then says that, I must be seen every day attempting to film, and then smokes and walks off.
And this is after he was cut or before?
Before.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought he was
that
like
was within
still
the
on the
first 2
island telling
days.
people like he's still recording.
No, after he gets fired and doesn't get on his plane, he fucking just vanishes. They don't know where he is.
Okay.
He leaves the airport on foot and just fucking goes in the rainforest somewhere.
That's so wild, man.
After Richard Stanley was fired sometime, he mentioned in an interview from the documentary how Fairuza, which was Vicky from Waterboy, that during dinner she threatened to cut out her own heart with the sushi knife if this project got shut down.
What?
Yeah.
Fresh off the cult, huh?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that movie called again? The Coven or
The
Craft? That's it. Goddamn.
Yeah. So you know how we mentioned that production assistant guy drove her like 1,500 miles to Sydney?
Yeah.
That guy actually was working in the art department of the film, but then he got fired from the art department and then rehired as the driver somehow.
That's awesome. What the
I don't
fuck?
even... How the fuck does that work? He's like, yeah, I had like 3 jobs on this movie.
How much you getting paid? I don't even know, man. I don't even know where the fuck I'm even supposed to be working.
And so now back to the new director, John Frankenheimer. He's not really like a monster movie type director. Like, this isn't a movie at all. They're like, this is the last movie he would ever agree to film. So he must have, like we said, he got a 3-movie deal and a shitload of money. But he is known for being able to work with difficult stars. But he doesn't even like the script at all. So every day he's changing stuff. Like, he's just ripping shit out, changing it, adding stuff to it. So no one ever knows what they're going to film because it's always different. And Fairuza, she didn't like him at all. She said that he would call her names and scream at her. And when people describe Frankenheimer, they're like, he's just kind of a freak. Like, he's just kind of an asshole and just kind of a freak. And he was like an old school screamer director, they said, where he just yells at everyone. He just sounds like a dickhead, honestly.
What did Rick James call him? Super freaks.
And right away, he doesn't get along with any of the actors at all. Everyone is clashing, which is kind of like a perfect storm of ego, power, and then people just not knowing what the hell was going on. And then this is right around when Marlon Brando comes back, or when he actually shows up. It's like, all right, we got all the actors we need now. We got the second director. Marlon Brando's back. Good news. But the bad news is he's doing all this weird shit, and he's like changing the script also. So not only is the new director changing the script, Marlon Brando is also changing the script. And here's a quote. According to Richard Stanley, the original shooting script was changed by Ron Hutchinson's rewrites ordered by John Frankenheimer, Marlon Brando, Val Kilmer, and the studio. Frankenheimer wanted to change the basic tone of the movie and tried to merge his version with Brando's vision of Moreau. Major portions of the script were either transformed or scrapped. However, the Writers Guild of America still keeps Stanley's name as a co-writer in the credits.
Nice.
So there's like 4 people that are changing the script every day.
On today, the day of my daughter's death, you want me to keep the script?
Just wait till you fucking hear what Brando does, dude. It is fucking insane. As they're filming, there's always rewrites and script changes. Sometimes they would film shit and then be like, okay, yeah, we're changing the script, so none of that's going to work. So we have to redo all that or just not use any of it. I mean, like we said, it's supposed to be 6 weeks and it gets moved to 6 months. And then Brando, he just starts doing all this really weird stuff. Like, Dr. Moreau is just supposed to be like, I don't know. He's kind of portrayed as like a sick, demented Jesus type character because it's like he's creating these animal hybrids. So he's kind of like a godlike character in a way. I haven't read the book at all, but that was just based on some of the stuff I saw in the concept art. However, Marlon Brando is like, I think Dr. Moreau should appear as like a Pope-like character, even though that's like nowhere in the script at all. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, and also whenever he's outside, he should be completely covered in white sunblock because he hates the heat and the sun.
Fuck yeah.
So Marlon Brando is covered head to toe in sunblock and white paint in the movie anytime he's outside.
Wow, he got it to go through. That's great.
One of the people in the crew wanted to talk to the director about this because he's like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all. Like, Marlon Brando, why is Dr. Moreau covered in all this white paint and shit? It doesn't make any sense. But Marlon Brando, he's like a ham radio operator, and somehow he was listening into this through a radio or like a walkie-talkie that was playing it or something. Somehow he was
in real
spying
life?
on this. Yeah, in real life. Somehow he's spying in on this.
Wow.
And after hearing this guy like in the fucking crew talk about this, Marlon Brando banished him from the set for questioning him.
Fuck yes.
And now people are like, well, this complete covered up white face is either a mad choice or a genius choice, because now Brando, since he's completely covered, you can't even tell it's him. He can get his stand-in to film a lot of the shit for him, so he doesn't have to even be in it.
Fuck yeah.
So it is a genius move.
10 steps ahead.
And in case you couldn't tell, everyone on set is like, Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando are purposely trying to sabotage this movie. All the shit they're doing is on purpose. They're just trying to see how much shit they can fuck up on purpose. And the executives, they sound like they're so far up Brando's ass that even though Brando's completely fucking with them, they don't even realize it. Like, they either don't realize it or they just don't even care anymore.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
So one of the end scenes, they're talking about filming. There's supposed to be like all the animal creatures, and it's supposed to be this big, bloody, giant battle. Like just fucking machine guns, gore, people getting ripped apart. It's supposed to be a giant battle. And Brando says, no. Instead of all this violence, how about all the animals come together in a grand celebration like a bar mitzvah?
Are you fucking kidding me? Dude, that's so fucking great. Noah's Ark.
Yeah, dude, he's just trying to see what all he can do. And he didn't want to remember any of his lines. So here's a quote. Marlon Brando wore a small radio receiver to aid him remembering his lines. Co-star David Thewlis claimed he would be in the middle of a scene and suddenly Marlon Brando would be picking up police messages. And while he's saying lines, he would just be like, there's a robbery at Woolworths.
Oh, right in the middle of shooting. That's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Just taking the piss out of it.
During one scene, they're carrying Brando in on like how they would carry like a pharaoh, like how there's like a chair and it's being carried by slaves pretty much. He does one of those, all in white, everything painted white. But then he's like, no, we need to stop filming this. I think this would look a lot better if the chair I'm sitting in had some peacock feathers sticking out of it. So they're like, okay. So they send an art guy to go out into the fucking wild to find a peacock, which you're in Australia, but luckily there was a farm nearby that had a peacock. So they sent one of the art department guys to go out there and pull feathers out of this peacock to glue him to this chair.
Fuck yeah, dude. What a job.
So that shut down filming for like fucking probably hours, however long that took.
Go find that fucking peacock.
Dude, there's one scene where Marlon Brando is just sitting in this chair and he just has like this hat, but it's a bucket and they're just dumping ice in it. So he has a bucket hat that they're dumping ice in. And he said his idea for Dr. Moreau, he's like, I think he should wear an ice bucket on his head because he said he came up with the idea out of boredom because of the heat, but everyone was too afraid to ask him to remove it. So the reason he did
Christ, dude.
is just because he's fucking hot. He's like, yeah, like, but he played it off. He's like, no, the reason why is because Dr. Moreau, he secretly mutated himself into a dolphin man.
Oh my God.
And
Dude,
if
this
you
is so fucking good.
And if you remove the bucket, underneath the bucket is a blowhole in the center of his head. But that never but that never happens. That's what he tells like the crew and the executives and everyone. He's like, he secretly mutated himself into a dolphin man. But really it's because they're in a rainforest in Australia and he was bored and hot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The blowhole.
Why he secretly mutated himself into a dolphin man.
You know, this guy also carries... This guy stays in a house with air conditioning. He's the first one to create air conditioning, but the air conditioner is made out of dolphin asses.
Dude, we'll get to something about air conditioning in a minute.
Okay.
One time, Fairuza, she's like, hey Brando, can I talk to you about our characters? And he's like, no. she's like, but none of this makes any sense. It's all crazy. And he's like, yeah, it is all crazy, but we're getting paid to just do whatever we want. And he knew it was all fucked up, he tells her. And she's like, I know he's just trying to see how much crazy shit he can get into this movie. And he tells her that he never even read the script because nothing makes sense. He's like, we're getting paid to be here. You're a beautiful girl. Just film, do whatever.
Oh my God, what the fuck? That's great.
Yeah.
Best advice ever.
Here's a quote. Actors playing Moreau's creations would spend hours in makeup only to find out that they weren't needed that day. This is in Australia. They're like dressing up. They're wearing like animal masks and like in full costume, full body costumes. At one point, a day's filming was canceled when Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer each refused to come out of their trailer until the other one did.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
So
The
Brando's
battle of wills right there.
Brando's like, I'm not coming out of my trailer until Kilmer comes out first. And then Kilmer's like, well, I'm not coming out until Brando comes out first. And they don't even come out that day. They stay in. People would get pissed off because
real quick, did Bruce Jenner stay in his room too, or did he actually come out? Okay.
All right. Marlon Brando, he would spend hours in his air-conditioned trailer. And whenever he was supposed to be on camera, like the actors in the animal suits are out sweating their fucking balls and tits off in the tropical heat in full makeup, full costumes, and he's just sitting in his trailer in the air condition. They're like, yeah, we need you to film this. And he just wouldn't come out.
Come on, Marlon.
So half the time, the cast and crew, they're just hanging around doing jack shit. The animal people, they would spend hours in makeup to not even film that day. So constantly, they would end up just getting drunk and partying. And in the documentary, like each person's room at the hotel had different stuff. Like this one guy would buy racetracks and shit, like for like remote control cars.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So like the little toy tracks you used to get for Christmas.
They're like, we're getting paid a lot of money and we don't fucking do anything. There's nothing to do. So they would just buy shit and then party.
And charge it to Marlon Brando's card. Yo, I snuck in his fucking room and took his card. Time to get them racetracks.
They're like, yeah, there's a lot of sex and drugs because there's nothing else to do.
It sounds like the fucking workers at Cedar Point.
Dude, that's all Ron Perlman's role was just one of the animal people. He was like barely in it.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
He played a blind animal. Okay.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was a long time ago when I saw it. I think he's like an animal priest. I forget what kind of animal, but he's blind. For his costume, he wore contacts that made him really blind. So he couldn't even see when he filmed. He really was blind filming.
That's good.
Here's another quote. Marco Hofschneider, his part was originally supposed to be much bigger. He was a German actor. But his role was cut down because Val Kilmer didn't want to be upstaged by him. And there's a part where Marco is talking where Val Kilmer just comes up to him. He's like, hey, if it ever comes down to just me and you know they're going to choose me, right? And then walked away. He was just a fucking bully to everyone. And then Marlon Brando became obsessed with Nelson De La Rosa, which is the world's smallest man.
Oh my God, I think I know a little bit about this.
And because he became obsessed with them, like they brought him on the movie just to be like a little extra, like a little animal dude.
Is he the guy from that one movie where it's the plane, boss, the plane?
Just Google him.
Okay. What's his name?
As soon as you see him. Nelson De La Rosa.
All right. Oh my God. Yeah, I've somehow stumbled across this guy before.
Yeah, dude. So he doesn't even speak English, okay? He's like I think he's like a Spanish actor or something.
Yeah, oh my God. I just saw the picture of him and fucking Marlon Brando.
Yeah. So
dude,
he's just on set and Marlon Brando sees him and becomes obsessed with him. And he's like, okay, I need the script revised. I want him. I want him in every scene with me. And the German actor, he was supposed to be like this butler guy. So he's in like every scene with Marlon Brando. And Brando's like, no, he's out of here. He's not in every scene with me. Nelson De La Rosa is that little dude who doesn't speak English. They're like, okay, well, Marlon Brando wants him in every scene, so we have to do that. But he's not even an actor. He's just this little dude.
Dude, I'm about to send you a link. This is what Marlon Brando's character reminds me of. It's when Dustin Rhodes went to WCW.
Yes. I was thinking that too, actually.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
All right.
So now that German actor, he's still in the movie, but he pretty much is just a background guy. All of his lines are cut. He doesn't have any lines now because they put the little dude, Nelson, with Brando in every scene. But since he doesn't speak English, Nelson's sister is there, and she's a translator for him. So he would speak, she would translate, but all he did was hit on the girls like all day.
Oh, wait, the little guy?
And he was like
Nice.
a super sexual person. So all the actresses are saying like he's just saying all this dirty shit to him. And the sister has to translate it all to him. And then since this little dude was like, because Brando was so into him, he started becoming an asshole too. Like he would just punch people in the nuts and stuff. Like he was just being a little dickhead to everyone.
That's so great. That's great. I don't give a fuck. This is the best.
And in some scenes, Brando was like, okay, well, he's going to be in the scene with me and we're going to have matching outfits. So that's why in all the scenes, they have matching outfits. There's one scene where Brando's playing a piano. This is actually fucking genius. He's playing a piano. On top of that piano is the little dude playing a little piano. And they believe that this was the inspiration for Mini-Me and Austin Powers.
Oh, okay.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that does.
Val Kilmer, he frustrated the director John Frankenheimer so much that after Kilmer filmed his last scene in the movie, Frankenheimer said, "Cut, now get that bastard off my set."
Fuck yeah. Treat him like he should have been treated, dude.
This is also what he said. "If I was directing a film titled The Life of Val Kilmer, I wouldn't have that prick in it."
Fuck yeah.
And so even though everyone was there to work with Brando and Kilmer didn't like each other, and neither of them liked the director, and the director didn't like either of them.
Dude, hashtag fucking Wildman on Bruce Willis for having the fucking foresight to be like, fuck this.
Yeah, dude.
Bruce,
For
you in?
real.
Yeah, sure, fuck, I'll be in it. It seems like it was a really good book. Fucking 1 second. Hey, Val, what's up? Not here, man. Just get a paycheck. All right, what about you, Brando? Just getting a paycheck, dude. Fucking good times. Yeah, I'm fucking out.
And James Woods, the guy they brought in who wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Kilmer has your part. We don't have a part for you, so you're out of here. We mentioned how Frankenheimer was a dick. He would just randomly start yelling on the set. He'd be like, "Man, I fucking hate this Australian crew. I wish I had my American crew." Like every day he would fucking start doing that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure they fucking loved him, huh? Like, gee, what an idiot. That's like literally being in prison and being like, dude, everyone in prison's a fucking scrub and a loser. What a bunch of fucking idiots.
And sometime while the movie's filming, like I don't know exactly when, it could have been at night or at one of the parties. I have no idea when. But there's just a guy who's kind of hanging around the area, and he becomes friends with the crew. And then one day he starts talking about this crazy guy living on a nearby farm. He's like, "Yeah, there's this crazy dude out there. He's just smoking a ton of pot, living on this farm, and going on and on about how Val Kilmer ruined his life."
Oh my God, yes.
He's talking about
Yes.
Richard Stanley, the original director. He just fucking is living on a random farm out here.
Oh,
Just
man.
smoking weed and going on about how much Val Kilmer ruined his life.
I like how he places no blame on Brando still.
And
It was all
so,
Kilmer. Not New Line Cinema. It was all Kilmer, dude.
So the guy that he tells him about is one of the guys who drove Fairuza to the airport because he's a driver now. So they're like, "Well, fuck, let's go out there and fucking talk to him."
You know what I
So-
just realized? Even
Yeah.
though he destroyed all the evidence and shit, they still easily filmed in the same location.
I know, dude. So they go out to the farm, and he gets in the car with a couple of the guys, and they're like, "Okay, we got to keep this secret because no one knows I'm here." And he's like, "And legally, I'm not allowed on set because of my contract. If I'm caught on set or do anything, then I'm not going to get paid," which he still wants to get paid for the movie, you know? So they get him in costume. They make him up to be this full dog-type creature, and he would change in the van so nobody knew who he was, and then he would go on set. He's in the fucking movie in some scenes.
Dude,
as
that's so
this
good.
dog guy. Yeah, dude, he's in the fucking movie.
What if, like, as he's zipping up the costume, he's like talking to himself in the dressing room in the mirror or whatever the fuck it is, and he's just like, listen here, I'm gonna be in this movie, and he like slowly starts zipping up the costume all the way up to his face. He's like, I'm gonna be in this movie, doggone it.
Dude, what's funny is some people started to catch on, like, because there's rumors going on, but they're like, okay, it's tropical heat, it's hot as fuck, they're in a big ass tent with like 300 people in it, and it's like all the animal actors and stuff, and everyone is sweating their balls off. They're drinking water, so everyone is taking their masks off and getting water, except the one lone bulldog man who's sitting in the back refusing to take his mask off.
Fuck
because
yes.
it's him. But the thing is like, he did a really good job in character. Like, he spoke to the guy. They had a guy on set who was like training the animal people to actually act like the real animal, and he worked with them. So he did like a really good role. He actually tried to do a good job, which is kind of it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it's kind of awesome.
Imagine getting paid to stay away, and you're like, I'll fucking risk it all just to play this fucking background dog.
So that's most of what happened in the movie. It sucks for the crew and the actors that were actually excited to be part of it, especially with like Richard Stanley, who worked to get the ball rolling for like 4 years and then gets fired just a couple days in. We do have some random fun notes and facts and trivia. A lot of it is pulled from Amazon and IMDb. But did you want to say anything before I start getting into that?
No, that's just the dog costume, dude. That's so fucking good. Fucking wild, man.
Yeah, dude, here, let me get a picture of it real quick.
I don't know what the fucking song is, but he is the definition of "'cause I want it all, but nothing." Is it nothing at all?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I was in the documentary. I don't have a picture of it. So alright, here's some random facts. There was supposed to be a scene where Montgomery is sleeping with the animal people, and then the pig lady bites his dick off. That was going to be in one of the scenes.
Classic.
Yeah. After everything, Val Kilmer, he encountered Richard Stanley during the rap party, and he did apologize to him. He said sorry for costing him his job. And Marlon Brando even later offered to compensate Stanley.
What?
So,
Compensate him? He got paid.
Yeah, I don't know if they knew that or not, but...
Oh. Dude,
So
I
it
would have
seems-
fucking took it. Yeah, please, Brando. That'd be good. Just
So
to
it
get
does-
money from all of them.
yeah,
you
so it
guys.
does seem like they felt bad eventually. Ron Perlman, the reason he took this movie is because he wanted to star with his idol, Marlon Brando. He was originally supposed to be there for 3 weeks and ended up staying for 4.5 months because of Val Kilmer's original lines were given to his character.
Oh, okay.
Like we mentioned a little bit earlier, they had an animal training / beast program that was used to train the extras and the actors playing the animal hybrid people. So that was kind of funny. Like, they had like, oh, you're a hyena guy. This is how they sound. This is how they walk. And they would actually fucking work on this shit to act like them. and since they
No,
needed, like,
it's not. It's 3 of them, man. There's 3 of them. Come on, people are gonna know.
And since they needed like hundreds of extras, they brought in like a bunch of natives and then homeless people to be in the movie, to be like the animals and extras and shit.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando's performance as Dr. Moreau inspired the character of Dr. Alphonse Mephisto, a mad scientist with a dwarf sidekick on South Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Dr.
that makes sense.
Mephisto, he bears a striking resemblance to Brando's appearance in his later career. His Hawaiian shirt owing to his life in Tahiti. His voice is also patterned after Brando. And then one last thing we're going to mention about Val Kilmer, because he was said to have been a bully and just a dickhead to everyone pretty much. There were some scenes where they were filming, and he's not in the scene, but he's there, and he's like smoking a cigarette while it's going on. He would come up behind like the sound guys and shit and just put his cigarette up to their hair and burn their hair.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so like people are like working and he would just put his fucking cigarette and burn their hair and shit. What an asshole. But it's a fucking interesting movie, man. I mean, that's everything that I wanted to talk about on it, but it's fucking nuts.
Brando like burns you with a cigarette. He's like, "What do you think about that?" And you're like, "Thank you, sir. It's been an honor."
Yeah, Toof, did you have anything you wanted to mention?
I mean, I'm not watching this piece of shit movie, but it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
would honestly watch the scenes that the guy is in the costume in.
yeah,
The
dude.
director hiding in it. That's the best.
Yeah. Val Kilmer is fucking pretty funny in it. There's a part where he kind of like after Dr. Moreau, spoiler alert, gets killed. Val Kilmer takes over as Dr. Moreau, but it's like I don't know if he's doing this on purpose, but he's really just making fun of Marlon Brando's portrayal of him. It's so fucking funny, dude.
Yes.
He's like wearing everything white, but he looks so funny. And Dr. Moreau, for some reason, he has this thing around his neck. I don't even know what it is. It looks like a fucking calculator.
It's like the Flavor Flav clock, but instead of that, it's a calculator.
I don't know what it is, but he has it, and like he says something into it, and he does this voice, and it's so fucking funny.
Wow. Trying to get me to watch it, huh, Kev?
Oh man, it's good. That shit is funny. But he's like doing the voice and shit. And it's just him making fun of him. But yeah, I think that's everything on this episode. You got anything, Toof?
No, just go out and see this movie. Show it some love. Show it some support.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. But yeah, like I said at the beginning, I don't know if this is going to be in our regular feed or on Patreon. So we're not going to do like a big exit or normal ending stuff. But we'll just say thank you for listening. Be good. Stay safe.
Laugh at the dark stuff. #Wildman.
#Wildman. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Leave this in, and it's probably most likely going to be a Patreon. So I'll just say thanks to all the Patreon listeners out there. Thank you for supporting us. We know you don't have to. We know you're not forced to. But the fact that you do makes us happy.
Yeah, I like that.
At Encova Insurance, we encircle you with insurance solutions you can trust. We provide coverage to protect what you care about. Business insurance, including workers' compensation, auto, home, and life insurance. What makes us unique? Our superior financial strength, smart technology, a one-stop shop for custom-tailored solutions. Encova 360, our approach to workers' compensation and local decision-making. We are Encova Insurance. Visit Encova.com for more information.
Now through February 13th, join Planet Fitness for just 25 cents down, $10 a month. Get tons of cardio, strength equipment, and free fitness training, all in a supportive environment. So say goodbye to phrases you hear at other gyms like,
if you're not crying, you're not trying.
Instead, get a workout that feels great. Just 25 cents down, $10 a month. Join through February 13th in club or at planetfitness.com.
34 Cleveland area locations and growing. Offer expires February 13th. Stop in and see us today.
See club for details.